women who are 53 and older, specifically 53, 55, 57, 59, 60, modernized female whores.
I'm really a whore.
Come on, baby.
You don't want an old man because he can't perform in bed. Or they're not looking for 55 or 57-year-old women. But most of the men who do all of the stuff that you're wanting are dead. Some of you have arthritis. Some of you have missing teeth. You have gray hair. You have grandkids. I am the table. Like, you got to be realistic and balanced in your thinking.
So another dating coach decides to give up on Black women. And before I get into why, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll get into it.
Women who are over 50 years old who have been reaching out to me for wife coaching tips, I'm no longer taking them. Don't pay the money through my website because I'm just going to refund it to you. I've had a couple of experiences this week, and here's why.
Okay, my first thought is, why do you need wife coaching tips in your 50s? Look, I understand there are many of us who didn't grow up in households, maybe where you didn't see your parents getting together along. Maybe you didn't have two parents. Maybe you were just growing up with your mom and your father. So I understand that there are those who just have no understanding of what it means to be a wife. But the fact that this is like a trend is the problem. Like, it's one thing if you have these anomaly cases here or there of really broken families, but it's another thing when this is a consistent trend. When it is normal to have women in their 50s who are taking wife coaching tips. Ideally, these are the women who will be teaching younger women in their teens, coming of age in their 20s, how to be a wife. So the very fact that there is a market of older, mature women who are still needing to learn the basics of how to manage a family, in my opinion, is part of the problem. And this goes down to a lot of the issues that we see today that impact the Black community, especially Black women. We are not taught how to value marriage. We are not taught how to value family values. We are taught to value getting our career, going and getting the bag, going and getting degrees. All the things that don't really lead to a successful relationship, the things that have nothing to do with learning how to raise a family. And so you have these women who go off and they focus so much on the careers and they may get these degrees, but they have zero interpersonal skills. They don't know how to get along with a man, let alone how to be married, let alone how to raise kids, all that kind of different stuff. And so they spend so many years just completely unprepared. And again, God forbid you have kids in that time when you're unprepared. God forbid you bring in children in the world when you're not with another man, when you're not in a family marriage setup. That creates a whole bunch of different chaos. And then now when you're in your 50s, when you're in the age where ideally you should be mentoring women half your age, you're now competing with them. And it just really complicates things. So to me, like, the first thought is, why do you have a large percentage of women in their 50s who need to take wife coaching tips? To me, that already shows red flag. There is a big problem in this setup.
Most of you, not all, but 99% of the women who are 53 and older, specifically 53, 55, 57, 59, 61, 64, in those age brackets, have been the most challenging for me to coach because the standards are unrealistically high.
So here's another problem. Not only do these lovely mature women now in their 50s, they weren't set up, they weren't taught how to be a wife, they weren't taught what it means to maintain a marriage, so they're now having to learn this in their 50s. On top of that, they have all these unrealistic expectations, and this is compounded probably with maybe the amount of success they've had, with the amount of baggage, past relationships, maybe baby daddies, movies they've seen, careers, degrees if they have any. So it just gets even more complicated the older you get, because the older you get, it's like you have less stuff you want to put up with, you have less negotiating you want to do. Usually you have an idea of what you like, and so now there's these high expectations coupled with an inability to know how to actually manage a marriage, and that just makes it really, really difficult for those ladies. So I could see how this is already making it very difficult for these ladies to win.
I get that you're old school, and I get that your mom raised you to only interact with gentlemen, but most of the
it's like, okay, if your mom only taught you to interact with gentlemen, did your mom teach you how to be a wife? It doesn't sound like it, because the very fact that these women have to take wife coaching, marriage coaching tips, sounds like there was some training that was missed. But let's continue.
men who do all of the stuff that you're wanting are dead, or they're not looking for 55 or 57-year-old women. There are some younger men who do that, and you don't want an old man because he can't perform in bed. Well, the younger men don't want an older woman because some of you have arthritis, some of you
What she literally said, the men who could do what you want are dead. Or they don't want you. They want women who are half your age. You want men who can perform sexually, but those men don't want you because you can't perform sexually. So, oh goodness. Okay, let's continue.
you have missing teeth, you have gray hair, you have grandkids. Like, you gotta be.
You have grandkids. Okay, so remember what I said before? If you spent all those years not knowing how to be a wife, but you brought kids and then now grandkids into the whole scenario, what did you teach your daughters? What did you teach your sons? If you now in your 50s are taking wife coaching classes, but you had all those years not knowing how to be a wife, not knowing how to actually manage a family, then what did you teach those kids? What values did you instill into your daughters and to your sons? And this is precisely the problem. This is why I think you do have women out there who feel that it is okay to get knocked up, to have a kid out of wedlock, but that's not a big deal. It's no big deal to just create a baby with a man that you may not want to spend the rest of your life with. But when it comes to now settling down and getting married, oh, that's a big deal. It's like you got to go through all these hoops. But you can create a baby with a man that you don't know is going to be there forever. But when it comes to now actually ensuring that you have the environment necessary for that baby to be raised in the best way possible, now you know how to do it. And that's the problem. The values, the things that women have been told to value in this modern society, valuing careers, valuing money, valuing success, valuing college, at the expense of relationships and marriage. These women who are going for the careers are still having sex and still having babies, just now outside of the confines of marriage. And that's creating a whole lot of havoc. And again, what does it create? Kids who now don't know how to value marriage, who don't know what to look for, who don't know what a healthy family structure looks like. And then it creates broken homes, and then the cycle continues. We all know the results of single parent households, especially single mother ran households. They're not good. Let's continue.
Realistic and balanced in your thinking. So listen, the other thing is these social media dating sites, or whatever you call these things, I've seen modernized female whores in those sites, meeting strange men, having sex with them. You don't know them. And I'm talking about women of God. I'm really a whore. God on my side.
We have got to stop this. We have got to stop the I'm a woman of God, I pray, I love the Lord Jesus Christ, and then you were thoughting it up in the strip club the night before church, the day after church, going on OnlyFans, sleeping with a whole bunch of different men, getting knocked up, getting pregnant, calling yourself a whore, but God still loves you. Like, yeah, God loves you for who you are, for who he created you to be, but he will never condone sin. He will never condone the very behavior that will actually harm you. So that's one thing I don't like. Please don't be calling yourself a woman of God and you were going around there acting like a prostitute. Yes, Jesus walked with prostitutes and sinners, and he walked with the thieves, and he walked with the outcasts of the world, and he also said, go and sin no more. He was not coming into agreement with their lifestyles. He was trying to empower them and show them a better way of living. Let's continue.
You've got to make some shifts and some changes in how you think and how you process if you want to be married. Now, if you just want to be somebody's jump off and you just want to be somebody's cougar, or some...
I guess there's more to that video, but I've seen enough. At the end of the day, at the end of the day, I'm not in my 50s, so I don't want to sit here and pretend like I understand the full struggle, but it is safe to say that women who are in their 50s and who are just now learning what it means to be a wife, there's going to be a lot that they have to unpack, and there's probably going to have to be a lot of humbling that they're going to have to do. I had the opportunity to talk to a lovely lady. Shout out to TJ Randolph. We had an interview months ago, and she talked about how she got married for her first time in her 50s, but what she had to do was humble herself because she had all these previous situations, she had all these expectations, she had all this baggage, and in order for her to find a husband that was a right fit for her with where she was at in life, she had to humble herself and she had to be more realistic. And so at the end of the day, that's what it sounds like. It sounds like you still can find love. I firmly believe that people can find love wherever they're at. They just have to be realistic with what they offer, what they are bringing, and then what is actually going on out there. And I think that's where a lot of people get tripped up. Hopefully you don't put yourself in a situation where you're in your 50s and you're getting into your golden years, just now learning how to do things that are quite basic and foundational to being a woman. Hopefully that is something that you learn early on. And if it's not, okay, that's where you're at. But ideally for younger women out there, go and understand that these are values and these are things that you should be learning coming up. And if you're not, there is still opportunity out there to learn how to be a wife. There's opportunity out there to learn what it means to raise a family, what it means to work together with a man. It's still possible to learn at any age, but ideally, the sooner you learn, the better. Don't put it off. You don't have to sacrifice your relationship for your career. You can absolutely do both at the same time. That I would actually argue that most women are going to be a lot happier and more fulfilled if they have their relationships in place and in order. So don't put that stuff off. Don't put off until your 50s and 60s about to retire learning how to be a wife. Learn that as soon as possible, because the longer you wait, the harder it's probably going to be. And quite frankly, I don't think that's how God intended it to be. Especially if you plan on having a kid, then it's best that you learn those skills so that you can have a kid within the context of a marriage, so you got to deal with all the other isms that come with co-parenting and child support and just all of that drama. Anyways, those are my thoughts. That's my perspective. What do you think? Do you agree or do you disagree? Let me know. Leave your questions, comments, concerns in the comment section below. Thank you so much for listening if you've gotten this far, and we'll talk later. Bye.